What is up, everyone? Welcome back to Top Chill Play. Winter 2026 just wrapped, and it delivered hard. Sequels that outdid their originals, brand new series nobody saw coming, and a couple of finales that are going to live rent-free in people's heads for a very long time. Today, we're breaking down the 12 best anime of Winter 2026, ranked from number 12 all the way down to the undisputed number 1. But before we get into the video, it would help me out a lot if you took a moment to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for your kind support. Let's get into it. Number 12. Sentenced to be a hero. What if dying wasn't the end, just the beginning of a punishment that never stops? In a world on the edge of extinction, condemned criminals are forced to become heroes. Not because they're chosen, not because they're special, because they're expendable. They fight, they fall, and the second they take their last breath, they wake up again stripped of another piece of who they used to be. Memory by memory, identity disappears. Xylo is one of these cursed soldiers, a man buried under sins, resurrected over and over for a war he never agreed to. Then he stumbles onto Teorita, a goddess engineered to destroy demon lords. On paper, she's a weapon. In reality, far more complicated, and their bond might be the only thing keeping him from losing himself completely. This isn't a power fantasy. He's crumbling. Each revival costs something real. The horror isn't the monsters, it's watching a man get erased one resurrection at a time. The animation is visceral, the tone brutal, the pacing relentless. Dark fantasy with genuine emotional weight and one unanswered question. How much of yourself can you lose before there's nothing left to save? Number 11. Fate. Strange fake. Not every Holy Grail war plays by the rules. While the original ritual demands sacred protocols and a chosen land, somebody in the American city of Snowfield decided to run their own version unauthorized, uncontrolled, and infinitely more dangerous. 7 masters. 7 servants. A fake war with very real body counts. The Grail doesn't care if the setup was legitimate. The dying is just as permanent. The servants summoned here are some of the most unhinged figures the franchise has ever produced. A serial killer posing as a mage, a false archer with a cosmically sized ego, a berserker so unstable his own master can barely contain him. These aren't heroes operating on honor, they're wildcards. And the chaos they generate makes every episode unpredictable. Snowfield feels like it's rotting from the inside out. Paranoia is baked into every conversation, every alliance, every glance over a shoulder because in a war where the rules got thrown out from the jump, trust is a liability. A1 Pictures delivered the animation quality this property always deserved. The story is self-contained and hits the ground running. The real question isn't who wins the war. It's whether anyone survives long enough to care about winning. Number 10. My Hero Academia. Vigilantes. Season 2. What happens when someone wants to be a hero but the system won't let them in? No license, no recognition, no backup, just the street, the danger, and the personal decision to step up anyway. While the main MHA timeline follows the official hero pipeline, this spin-off digs into the underground, the unlicensed fighters protecting their blocks without anybody's permission. Season 2 escalates everything the first season built. The stakes are higher, the villains nastier, and the emotional core, the bond between Koichi, Knuckle Duster, and Pop Step gets put through the grinder in ways that genuinely sting. This isn't about power levels and ranked battles. It's about ordinary people doing extraordinary things with very ordinary quirks. The world feels grittier, more street level. The humor still shows up MHA DNA after all, but earns every laugh by surrounding it with real tension. The villains here are exactly the kind the official hero system ignores, which makes the whole thing feel personal. Season 2 knocked it out of the park for franchise fans and pulled in newcomers who never connected with the main series. The emotional payoff in the final stretch lands harder than anyone expected. A seriously underrated gem in the winter lineup. Number 9. Trigun Stargaze. 2.5 years after the city of Lost July was reduced to rubble, the planet is still bleeding. Vash, the Stampede, the man the bounty posters call a walking disaster, has gone completely off the grid. New name, Backwater Town. Trying to convince himself the chaos that follows him everywhere just stopped. It didn't. It never does. Orange Studios' follow-up to Stampede carries all the weight of that story into something bigger and more emotionally complicated. Meryl is back with a new partner, still searching. Wolfwood reappears. And from the far reaches of outer space, a signal arrives that changes the trajectory of everything, not in a way anyone was ready for. Road trip sci-fi with gunfights and a protagonist who refuses to kill. But underneath all that, a meditation on guilt, on the cost of survival, on what it means to protect a world that keeps falling apart. Vash isn't a power fantasy hero. He's someone carrying a weight that would destroy most people. Watching him carry it anyway is the whole show. Visually, some of the most striking animation of this winter season. Some stories don't end. They just keep finding new ways to cost you. Number 8. Hell's Paradise, Season 2. The island didn't let them go. Gabimaru the Hollow, a shinobi assassin with a reputation built on blood and a heart quietly anchored to someone he refuses to lose, is back in the chaos of Shinsenkyo. The elixir of life is still out there. The monsters are still hunting. Survivors of the first season are about to find out everything before was just the warm-up. Mappa picks up the pace immediately and doesn't apologize. The world expands, the mythology gets stranger, and the action reaches a degree of brutality that earns every frame. What keeps this from being just another gore showcase is the character writing. The protagonist's relationship with his own humanity is the emotional thread running through everything. Every fight, every near-death moment ties back to one question. What is a person actually fighting for when everything around them is trying to kill them? The supporting cast gets real development, not something every action anime bothers with. Each person on that island has a reason to survive, and watching those reasons collide and contradict each other is where this series shines. Season 2 doesn't just justify the wait, it makes the first season feel like an introduction. Number 7. Fire Force, Season 3. Every fire has to go out eventually, and for the Special Fire Force, this is the end of the line. The final chapter of one of the most visually inventive action franchises of the last decade goes out swinging. Stakes are planetary. The animation is unhinged in the best way. The sound design, already the best in the game, hits levels in this final arc that feel completely cinematic. Shinra Kusakabe and Company 8 have been building to this since day one. The truth behind the Infernals, the conspiracy that runs deeper than any single organization, it all clicks into place, rewarding everyone who stayed through every arc. What makes this final season stand out is how strange it gets. Not messy strange, deliberately, artistically strange. The choices are bold, some feel like risks, most pay off. Atsushi Okubo's singular creative vision runs through every frame, unlike anything else on the winter schedule. This show might not win every debate about anime of the year, but it wins the one about which series had the most distinctive identity. For fans of action anime with real visual ambition, this final season is flat out essential. Some endings burn slow. This one goes nuclear. Number 6. Journal with Witch. Grief does not look the same on everyone, and this show understands that better than almost anything airing this winter. When Kudai loses someone close, she finds herself sharing space with Asa, a young girl carrying the same weight differently. A therapist suggests Asa keep a journal. What comes out of those pages is more raw and human than either expected. No villain, no climactic battle, no twist to shake things loose. The tension is entirely internal, the kind that lives in pauses between sentences, in the way someone holds a cup of tea, in the way a person quietly stands up for someone because it is simply the right thing to do. What makes this remarkable is the specificity of its emotional observation. The grief is not generalized or softened. The way Kudai and Asa process loss is deliberately different, watching those two approaches orbit each other, sometimes clashing, sometimes connecting, is where this series earns everything. No flashy premise, no high-concept hook. It sits down next to you and starts talking quietly. 20 minutes later, you have not moved, and something in your chest feels different. The question it leaves you with is simple. Are you actually dealing with it, or just writing it down? Number 5. Bleach. Thousand-Year Blood War. The Calamity. The war that was supposed to end everything is not over. Ichigo Kurosaki has fought through hell and come out the other side with power he barely understands and scars he's still learning to carry. The Calamity brings the conflict to its most devastating stretch yet. Nobody is safe. Nobody. What Studio Pierrot has done with this adaptation is nothing short of a franchise redemption. The pacing problems that plagued the original run are completely gone. What remains is pure, concentrated storytelling fights that carry real narrative weight, deaths that land, and Tite Kubo's legendary character design finally getting the animation budget it always deserved. The Quincy Army isn't just powerful, they're organized, methodical, operating on a level the Soul Society has no real answer for. Watching characters you've spent years with get pushed to their absolute limits hits differently when you know the series is heading toward an ending. For fans who wrote this franchise off during the filler era, this is the arc that converts skeptics. For the longtime faithful, this is the payoff. Winter 2026 was lucky to have it. The fans who have been waiting over a decade for this ending, they're finally about to get what they came for. Number 4. Oshi no Ko, Season 3. The entertainment industry does not just chew people up, it rewrites them. 2 seasons pulling back the curtain on idol culture, acting, social media, and the machinery behind the spotlight have been building to this. Season 3 goes even deeper. The murder mystery gets sharper and more personal. The twins get more complicated. The show keeps finding new ways to make you feel unsettled by things that are supposed to look beautiful. Aqua thought he was done chasing something. He was not. Ruby is stepping into the spotlight while quietly digging for answers about a death that changed everything. What this season does brilliantly is let both siblings operate on separate tracks, then force you to notice how different they have become, and what that gap is quietly costing each of them. The writing is dense in the best way. Every scene does at least 2 things at once. A cheerful industry event hides 3 layers of subtext. A casual conversation contains a reveal, reframing something from 20 episodes back. Season 3 rewards close attention and pays viewers back with serious interest. The closer you get to the truth, the less you are sure you wanted to find it. Number 3. Frieren, Beyond Journey's End, Season 2. Time moves differently when you are immortal. 1,000 years of walking this world, collecting spells, watching empires fall, losing people she did not realize she loved until already gone. Season 2 pushes the journey further north, the terrain more treacherous, the emotional landscape more devastating with every episode. This season takes real risks, not just in the storytelling, but in structure itself. Some episodes slow all the way down and sit with a single feeling for 20 minutes. Others gut you with action sequences, proving Madhouse has not lost a step. The arc defining this season pushes the main character into territory the first season only gestured toward. She has always been defined by detachment, her inability to connect on a human timeline. Season 2 asks what happens when that begins to change. The answer is not comfortable. It is not supposed to be. This show understands the most interesting emotional territory is what does not resolve neatly. Every frame considered, every line earning its place. For a show this quiet, it is remarkable how often it leaves you completely undone. Some journeys do not have a destination, just the next step and the weight of everything before. Number 2. Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. The culling game has begun, and the rules are designed to make sure as few people as possible walk out alive. Yuji Itadori is back, and he is not okay. The weight of the Shibuya incident sits on him like a curse no exorcism can remove. Dropped into a battle royale against the most powerful sorcerers imaginable, racing against the clock before everything falls apart. Mappa came back with something to prove. The direction lets the protagonist guilt and isolation breathe before chaos erupts. When the fights hit, they hit with everything. The standout battle sequences here are some of the finest animation ever produced for weekly TV anime. Full stop. What this season does at a higher level than ever is balance massive scale with genuine intimacy. The culling game is enormous. The body count is enormous. But the camera keeps returning to faces, to quiet moments between characters who know not all of them are making it out. Yuta Okatsu adds exactly the complexity the story needed. His dynamic with Yuji is one of the most unresolved relationships in the franchise this season, refuses to let it be simple. Part 1 ends with the feeling things are about to get significantly worse, which means significantly better. Number 1. One Piece: The Elbaf Arc. 25 years. That is how long this story has been running, and somehow, right now in early 2026, it is delivering some of the most emotionally charged episodes it has ever produced. The Elbaf Arc is not just another stop on the Grand Line. It is a destination fans have been waiting to see since the series was in its early chapters. The giants, the mythology. Payoffs seeded decades ago, finally blooming into something that makes grown adults completely lose it on a Tuesday night. Luffy and the crew are pushing into the final stretch of a story spanning a generation of fans. The animation quality here is the best the series has looked in years. The emotional beats hit harder because of everything before every sacrifice, every farewell, every small moment that was set up for right now. For longtime fans, this arc is like cashing in 20 years of compound interest all at once. For newcomers, it is a reminder of why this franchise became the biggest manga in history. Winter 2026 number 1 is not just the best anime of the season. It is proof that some stories are worth the wait no matter how long it takes. And that is a wrap on the 12 best anime of winter 2026. This season went crazy dark fantasy, psychological drama, slow burn emotional storytelling, straight up insane action. There was something on this list that had absolutely no business being as good as it was. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and drop your like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a drop. It really helps more than you know. The bar has been set ridiculously high for the rest of the year, and we will be here covering every major release. Thank you for watching, stay chill, and we will catch you in the next one.